So the God of War reboot and PlayStation Network is down, and we're going to talk about how some people are able to play offline versus other people who just can't. Those are the stories we're going to cover today, and if you could hit that like button on the video, thank you to those that do it, and as always, it's very much appreciated. First, yes or no, are you able to play any games right now or not? I'm not able to play anything on my PS5 Pro, but I am on my base PS5, and we're going to talk about that. I think some of you already know the answer. I just keep getting the maintenance message, but that's just me. What about you? So comment below, yes or no, if you're able to play any games or not. Let me know down in the comments below. Now, diving into the first story of the video, PlayStation Network is down. So this is concerning that we're still dealing with this right now. PlayStation Network went down yesterday, and people hoped that it would be just for a short period. I've been through moments where PlayStation Network wasn't working for some people online, but I'd usually be able to get home and play some games no problem. So I was hoping that was the same case last night, but nope. I got home and tried to turn on Factions, which is really just me trying to open the single player game that is The Last of Us, and what I got was the message saying can't use this content, can't connect to the service to verify your license, wait a while and then try again. If you enable console sharing and offline play on this PS5, you can use your content even when the server isn't available. To enable this setting, go to settings, user accounts, other. Now, the problem is if you go to those settings, you'll get this message. We're doing some maintenance on PlayStation Network right now. Please try again later. So this has been the difference between the comments I'm seeing online, where some people are able to play their digital single player games offline, no problem. And then you have others who can't. For me, I have my base PS5 as well, which does have that feature turned on, and I'm able to play my single player games just fine on that console. This is the divide outside of the obvious inability to play online games, which is a bigger problem for a lot of people out there. So yes, you can play games without the server depending on whether or not you have this feature turned on. I went to my base PlayStation 5 to try to turn off the feature, and I get that maintenance message again, just to show that there isn't something special between the two consoles. It's just this setting is on and off. PlayStation's only official word on this is what we have from the Ask PlayStation account, which just pretty much said they're aware of the situation and are looking into it. I've heard that some people are getting things working again this morning, but are unable to play online games, which again is the really main focus for a lot of people out there to play, your Call of Duties, your Warzone, your Fortnites, and etc. And playing digital games, obviously, if you have this play offline setting turned off, that's an issue for you. We are now into the next day and are still waiting on an update. Let's hope we get something soon. And if you're enjoying the video so far, hit that subscribe button and join our growing community on our way to 150,000 subscribers. Now diving into the second story of the video, the PlayStation 5 God of War reboot. Reading from Twisted Voxel, the next entry in Sony Interactive Entertainment and Sony Santa Monica Studios' God of War series will feature a young Kratos' journey back to Greece based on a new report. During the latest episode of the Insider Gaming Weekly podcast, co-host Tom Henderson addressed an earlier rumor about the next God of War game potentially being set in Egypt. Since then, he received a tip from a source that claimed that the prior leak was inaccurate and that the next God of War title is actually set in Greece. Henderson's source further mentioned that in addition to being set in Greece, the next God of War game will feature a younger version of Kratos. It was also said that the storyline will involve the protagonist's relationship with his father, Zeus. This seems to suggest that it is a prequel or reboot of some sort, but it's tough to say without any further details. The podcast co-host also brought up an earlier rumor about a remastered version of the original God of War trilogy being in development. He speculated that the latter may have something to do with this new upcoming title. So, listening to the podcast and what Tom said, this pretty much does sound like a prequel, and I want to note that Tom said on the podcast not to fully roll with this. It's just what he's heard, because I'm assuming if he was 100% sure, he would have put up an exclusive article on Insider Gaming about this, but considering he spoke on it at all, he had to have felt the source was good enough to mention this on his podcast. Focusing on what he said, I'm not sure how it's going to work in terms of the relationship relationship between Kratos and Zeus, because the main games pretty much show that very, very clearly. The only other alternative is that this game takes place during Kratos' 10 years of servitude, but I don't know how interesting that could be. The other possibility is that this is a reboot of the series, telling a potentially different story than what the originals had, taking some of the work they did with God of War 2018 and Ragnarok and that father-son relationship and bringing that back to the Greek mythos. This is in addition to the potential remasters of the original games, so you'd have the original games remastered to play, and then you'd have this potential reboot. Now, I will say I would be a bit worried about how they're potentially going to change the original games if they're rebooting the Greek pantheon. Kratos still has to be raging, he still has to be angry, he still has to be savage with a touch of humanity and dealing with the trauma of what he did. That is the core of the Greek saga. Focusing on the relationship between him and Zeus paints a picture where they could potentially have any real sort of relationship, which we didn't see in the originals. Zeus didn't even want a real relationship because of the prophecy of the cycle of son taking out his father. So I'm curious what they do here if that is the focus. I'm interested, but I was personally excited to see what they could have done with the Egypt mythos, to see what they could have done there, and if that was a prequel to God of War 2018, and flesh out that story. But let's see what happens here if this is in fact the case. But you guys let me know what you think of a potential reboot of the God of War Greek series. Let me know down in the comments below, and if you guys did enjoy this video, please hit that like button as it always helps, and subscribe if you're new. I got new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and now I'll check you guys out on the next one. And welcome back to the after show. This is the part of the video where we have a little fun down in the comments below. If you're old, welcome back. If you're new, welcome. For today's thing, what I want you guys to do is the body, obliterate, destroy, and overall harass the comment section with bring on more Kratos. So I'm interested to see what they do with this Greek reboot, and this relationship between Zeus and Kratos. I don't know how they're going to pull that off, because I don't think you could pull that off like Kratos and Atreus. That's a very different relationship. Zeus is afraid of Kratos, and Kratos hates Zeus because he hasn't released him from his traumas. Unless they take that trauma out, which they can't, because that is a core part of Kratos' story and Kratos' character. So, very curious to see what they do there. I hope they do it well and don't damage the legacy of the Greek saga, because I love that saga so much. But if you guys are excited for more God of War, destroy the comment section with bring on more Kratos, and I'll definitely heart those comments like I always do, because I appreciate everybody who stays to the end of my videos. And now I'll check you guys out on the next one.
You will never be the ruler of Olympus. The cycle ends here.